Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us on cricketnext.com. I'm Shivani Gupta and today we're building up to the eliminator of IPL season 2023. Before we do that, we will take a look back a little bit on what we witnessed last night as well. What a masterclass from MS Dhoni. Not with the bat, but certainly as far as he handled his troops last night in what was a chase that really could have gone either way. Conditions did come to help Chennai at home, but it needed everything from the powerhouse of MS Dhoni to make sure that he marshaled his troops in a manner that gave them the advantage against Gujarat Titans. They beat them convincingly and have made their way to their record 10th final in 16 seasons. 14 seasons that the Chennai Super Kings have played so far in IPL history. I'm Shivani Gupta. Joining me are our in-house experts. I'm joined by my colleague Vineet, who's actually going to be in Chennai today. And Vineet will also get us a look ahead of what is really building up as far as the city is concerned. I have some questions about what pitch will be used today. I've got Chetan Narula and Jamie Alter also joining us. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for joining us in our preview today. Let me begin with Jamie. Jamie, I want to discuss a little bit of what we witnessed last night. And it was one of those matches that has built the legend of MS Dhoni, isn't it? And even as there is so much talk about his swan song, we'll come to that in just a bit. He has truly showed why he matters so much in this format.
Absolutely, Shivani. In fact, we were talking about this yesterday. Chetan was there on the preview show, and we were talking about, the comparisons. But that just shows, right? Yes, to a certain extent, there are some similarities, but Dhoni showed why he's MS Dhoni, right? Almost every decision bore the stamp of MS Dhoni, and his press conferences have just, from a personal perspective, they just gotten so revealing. And yesterday might have been the best one he gave, because that statement about me being an annoying captain because I shuffle
Yes.
people from 2 feet, and Rashid Khan was 15 balls 30. Match was not quite in their grasp, but you know what Rashid Khan can do. He got that 79 not out against Mumbai, and he puts Devon Conway literally 2-3 feet, to his left, and the catch goes right there. And there's we all know. I mean, I sound like a stuck record. The master of the squeeze, like Chetan and I were discussing yesterday on WhatsApp. No, MS Dhoni knows what to do. So yes, maybe some better tactics on Hardik Pandya could have seen that team get a little closer. But when it's Dhoni and the playoffs, there really is no comparison. So I'm not surprised because I called the Chennai win yesterday.
All right, good for you. We'll take Jamie's opinion about today's match as well and whether he'll stick his neck out or not. But Chetan, one of the things that has stood out for me is I was actually drawing that comparison yesterday about his ODI retirement. Remember around the 2019 World Cup, there was so much talk whether he's going to do it or not. And it eventually happened a year later when nobody saw it coming, right? So he does it at his own time. And after last night's match, he once again indicated that he's in no hurry to announce whether this is going to be his final season. It may turn out to be his final season. He's not looking for a swan song or some standing ovation. He says he's going to make up his mind and announce it only before the next mini auctions.
Absolutely, Shivani. I think there were quite a few hints yesterday because usually when Harsha Bhogle asks him such questions, he has a ready-made answer. My legacy is. I mean, we had that. The graphic yesterday on screen
Yeah.
that his legacy is not done. He'll be coming back. Definitely not. Whatever the answers are, standard answers that he gives. Yesterday, his answer was pretty ambiguous, and when there is ambiguity about it, it means that the guy himself doesn't know what the future is like. And he's been playing through a knee injury, and it's not getting any easier. He's 41. He still has to even in terms of fitness. He has to start from December, January onwards, start building up his fitness, get match fit so that he can come and, at least be competitive with these guys. He himself admitted that the runs are not flowing, and we have seen that the runs are really not flowing. He's giving himself hardly 3-4 deliveries every match. So clearly he has not yet decided, but the signs are there. The signs are all there. As much as it pains me being a Dhoni fan, all of us are Dhoni fans. To just be very hopeful that he may just come back. The signs are all there. If you just think about what he said yesterday, the signs are all there.
Right, but he's leaving his fans hanging. Or at least he
Yeah, we can
doesn't
all live
want
in
his
hope.
retirement or swan song to be overshadowing
Yeah, yeah.
maybe what can be a record title for Chennai. So I think he
We can
wants
all
to
live
give
in
him some
hope for the
time to
next.
think about it when he's actually not on the cricket field.
Yeah,
Go back, see whether he still has that hunger to come back and do it. And, fair
absolutely.
enough. For someone like him, Chennai will be very happy to have him, isn't it, Vineet? Even if his bat
Yeah,
is not
absolutely.
runs, I think they'll be very happy to play him as just captain.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, yesterday it was, the build up to the game was. We talked to a lot of fans in Chennai, and all of them were anticipating, this could be, Dhoni's final, appearance here in Chennai ever, not just this season, but the way these, hello, am I
Yes, go
audible?
ahead. Hear you, Vinny.
Yeah. So the way they celebrated this victory, I mean, it in a way really, gave sense of, what things are to come. Yes, as Chetan mentioned, Dhoni left it hanging in terms of what the future holds. But for the people of Chennai, it was something that it was in their mind it was farewell. That was it for the people of Chennai. What happens next season is something you don't know, but the general mood here in Chennai is that every game or every ball that Dhoni plays, they want to cherish it, and that's how these guys celebrated Dhoni. And after that win, of course, I mean the title is up for grabs now. It'll be great, but Dhoni won't be coming back here this season at least. So the sense here is the hope is he doesn't retire, but everybody knows this might be the last of
This might
Dhoni that
well
they have
have been
seen.
his last match. Yes, and he did add, which is obviously, like I mentioned, something that every CSK fan would want. One way or the other, he's going to be associated with the CSK franchise. He did indicate that whether he's playing or not playing, I'll always
Yeah.
be with CSK. So I don't know, maybe he'll be forced to sit in the dugout, which he generally doesn't do. But if he becomes part of the support staff and the coaching staff, then I think he cannot sit in the dressing room anymore. He'll have to sit in the dugout. Because generally Dhoni has a penchant of not sitting in the dugout. He sits in the dressing room and likes to view the action from there. But we have to move on to today's match. Let's preview the big one that's coming in today, which is the eliminator between Lucknow and Mumbai. Now, Chetan, we were discussing this yesterday. If you look at the head
Yeah.
to head, Lucknow has the same advantage that Gujarat did versus Chennai. Lucknow have won their two matches last season and the match this season. But as we figured out last time around, it doesn't really matter when you're playing an experienced side, and Mumbai is one of those sides.
Absolutely, Shivani. It does not matter clearly, and the kind of you mentioned earlier about what kind of surface we'll have today. It's not going to be the same pitch that was used for last night's game. It's going to be a fresh pitch. It's going to be the alternate turf that is available at CSK and sorry at Chepauk. And we saw yesterday that in the second innings the ball was stopping a bit. The ball was the way MS Dhoni marshals his troops, his spinners. That's what he's good at. So obviously, if there's not going to be too much dew around, then I think there's going to be advantage in terms of what quality of spin these two sides have. And from there onwards, I think Lucknow will have a bit of an advantage, especially if they are bowling second, or even if they're bowling first with those three spinners in their arsenal: Krunal Pandya, Amit Mishra, and Ravi Bishnoi. I think they will make things a little tougher for the MI batsmen who like to hit their shots, score those big runs. So on a pitch which is a little too paced, the ball is holding up. I think MI will have their task cut out.
Okay, before I go across to Jamie one more time, Vinit, why don't you tell us what is the pitch likely to be like today, the one that's going to be used for the match today?
So what I can tell you guys is that this probably would be the same pitch that the qualifier one was played on. So as Chetan rightly mentioned, it will be slow, it will grip, it will be two paced. So that is the pitch. I mean, most likely it will that they'll play, and it plays into the hands of LSG as Chetan mentioned. MI, of course, love to they are a very batting heavy unit, and you have LSG, which is a bowling heavy unit. So it is best chasers in the season versus the best defenders in the season. So that way, the pitch look last game also you saw. I mean, the way they started, the way the first innings was that the ball was coming onto the bat, but by the second innings, what you saw was the ball turning. Ravindra Jadeja's ball turned a mile, a few of them. So it will be going to be very difficult. Anybody who wins the toss probably would like to bat first. The due factor, as Chetan mentioned, one of the tactical mistakes probably Gujarat did was that they anticipated due, and hence the reason why they opted to bowl first. Again, I mean, by the looks of it, they shouldn't be much of due, but Chennai weather is something that you really cannot predict in terms of humidity here. So it will be an even contest that way. Winning the toss, batting first is ideally what teams should be looking at. But then again, I mean, you have quality spinners on both the sides. You want to exploit that second innings slowness also. So yeah, even contest there.
Jamie, both teams have been pretty scrappy, right? And they've got into the the last four, the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. I mean, Mumbai actually got in only because RCB lost their final match. But they have built up quite nicely. They won five of their last seven matches. They are the more experienced team. They are a big stage team as well. How would you rate the two? Do you feel that maybe just because of that, Mumbai could have a slight advantage?
It's easy to say yes. I just think like we're all I think on the same page. The kind of surface, right? Because Mumbai's template, just like Hardik Pandya's template with Gujarat of chasing, it's pretty much applicable to the Wankhede and maybe the Mohali ground. Now the fact, just like yesterday, while Chennai played seven matches on that ground, Gujarat Titans had never played there, and that's exactly what the difference was when you look at it. Now, what unlike 2021 and 22 because of COVID and all that stuff, what the difference now is that teams are getting that home advantage. Yesterday was a clear case of home advantage. Mumbai Indians played in Chennai. They had one of their worst matches there, right? So you're playing on the same track or something very similar. I think the advantage actually is with Lucknow because, yes, they also struggled at their home ground. They were left frustrated by the kinds of tracks they got in Lucknow. But I think playing those 5-6 matches there actually put them in a much better position. Just like Chetan touched upon, Mumbai, the batsmen like to come out. Cameron Green, Rohit Sharma, Ishan Kishan, Surya. Surya did not click the last time in Chennai, given the fact that, and look at Kunal Pandya. I think this kind of Chennai track, whatever track we get in Chennai, is going to be perfect for Kunal Pandya. Bat at 3, take your time, strike it at 120, get some crucial runs. And then those 4 overs. You have 4 overs from Kunal Pandya. You have 4 overs from Bishnoi. You might even get 3-4 from Amit Mishra. So yes, Mumbai Indians come into this league, with the pedigree, with the title. But if you just look at the conditions, I think they're the ones playing catch up, Shivani.
All right, so we know that their bowling lineup and particularly their spinners are going to be key. We've discussed that. They've got Ravi Bishnoi, who's their top wicket taker, and obviously they've got Mark Wood, Naveelul Haq, all amongst the wickets. Yash Thakur there amongst the wickets, Avesh Khan, Mohsin Khan. So I don't think they've got any issues as far as their bowling department is concerned, and this surface could suit them very well. But Chetan, is their batting too foreign batsman dependent, and is the batting which could falter for them? You look at their top scorers this season, it's Stoinis 368, Nicholas Pooran and Kyle Myers, all in the range of 380, 360. You need a little bit more, right, against a side like Mumbai.
Well, I think the more important statistic to look at is the strike rate with which these guys have scored. I mean, if you look at the way Stoinis and Nicholas Pooran have scored, they've been very attacking from the very beginning. Throughout the season, whenever they've gotten going, they've played very, very attacking cricket. Similarly for Kyle Myers, I think he's gone off the boil after having made a superb start, which kept Quinton de Kock out of the side. The key question is, how do you balance the batting lineup in terms of the bowling? Because these 3 players, if they are in the side, do you really not play Quinton de Kock? So if you play Quinton de Kock, are you not playing Kyle Myers? I think Lucknow should do what Delhi did in one of those games where they had all 4 of their overseas players as, their top order batsmen. I think they should play all 4 of them, and they should have just an Indian-based bowling attack, which can do the job for them. Like I said, those 3 spinners. But yes, the number of runs they've scored through the season perhaps is not as high. But again, like I said, in a match like this, it does not matter what you've done through those 14 games. What matters is what you can do today. And this is where I think the strike rate is going to be really, really important.
Yeah, Nicholas Pooran actually has a strike rate of 174, 150 for Stoinis. So those are all obviously good numbers. I do want to ask Vineet. Vineet, what is the buzz around both sides lineups? What are you hearing? Of course, there's the added element of an impact player. But as far as just the top 11 is concerned, are there any changes that we can look forward to? Anything that the team managements have indicated towards?
Look, from Lucknow's perspective, you look at that lineup and the very glaring, name is Quinton de Kock because he doesn't have the greatest of record against, leg spinners. So you have a Piyush Chawla in that lineup. So that's one of the things that, Lucknow Super Giants may think to do. I mean, have a Kyle Myers back in, as Chetan mentioned, he started the season really well. And look, in that lineup itself, be it Quinton de Kock, be it Kyle Myers, and be it your Nicholas Pooran, Marcus Stoinis, all of them, their strike rates. You talked about strike rates. Their strike rates aren't the greatest when it comes to off spinners. And Mumbai have off spinners in Hrithik Shawkeen. They have a Tilak Verma who could bowl as well. So that's the changes. I mean, you could see happening. Kumar Karthik sits, and you bring in a Hrithik Shawki. Maybe Tilak Verma gets to bowl. He's just coming out of an injury. For LSG, maybe Quinton de Kock sits out and have somebody like Kyle Mayers and Nicholas Puran to do the wicket keeping duties. I mean, these are the kind of changes you probably may look at.
Mhm. Okay, Jamie, I want to talk about the Mumbai batting. Even though we're anticipating a match where the batsmen could actually struggle on a sluggish pitch, as we saw last night. But just talking about the Mumbai batting lineup, I mean, they've got Surya Kumar Yadav, they've got Cameron Green, they've got Tim David. I mean, these are batsmen who can switch it on at will. I know that Tim David and Cameron Green couldn't do in one of those matches, which was a rare occasion where they couldn't quite get on the finish line. But these are batsmen, who are so innovative and so confident of their abilities that I think they are made for this occasion where there could be some struggle involved for batsmen.
Absolutely. Look, you look at what they've achieved and the pedigree with which, I mean, starting from Rohit Sharma, yes, he's not had a great season, but it's still Rohit Sharma, right? Rohit Sharma down to Tim David. And just like Vineet mentioned, I really hope we get to see Tilak Verma, because I think the longer that he stays on the bench, people are going to forget how critical he was in that first half. So if the batsmen play to potential, there's no stopping this team from getting to 200, which is going to be an outstanding total on that track. But again, like we sort of touched upon, most of their runs have come on more batting friendly tracks. I think the main positive was because I think we discussed this, Chetan knows. We talked about how they used Cameron Green at number 3 for a while. Then he didn't click in one match. Then they put him down to number 6, 7. He kind of struggled there. Getting him back to number 3, chalo, it was a risk because you moved Sky from the place where he rightly belongs. But to get 100, yes, Hyderabad, poorest bowling attack, Wankhede, but the kind of confidence they would have gotten from him at number 3, I don't think he's going to bat at number 3 in this match. But just knowing the guy you spent a lot of money on got 100, he can do things. They will be confident. But something like, again, like that stuck record that I often sound like, just that Krunal Pandya, Ravi Bishnoi, Amit Mishra, I just think it's going to be very, very tough because we saw only one match, but all those stroke makers, they really struggled in Chennai a few weeks ago when they went there.
Can I just say, when I was watching the match last night, Chetan, yes, the top order, even somebody like Gill, who's in sublime form, and the sound that his bat makes when the ball touches it, and the way that it races to the boundary, and the angles are also there, all of that was great, but he obviously struggled to accelerate yesterday, and he was losing partners in the other end. But then you had somebody like Rashid Khan, even some of the others in the lower middle order, who got their shots and got their boundaries and got their sixes. Right? So, sometimes it also happens that the top order gets stuck because they are wanting to preserve their wickets as well while getting those shots, and some of the lower order batsmen come and they show the freedom. So maybe, it was a little bit of what some of the top order of Gujarat did. But leave that aside. I do want to talk a little bit about Rohit Sharma. He hasn't quite been on song this season. Yes, he scored a half century in the last match. Do you feel that he's back in his rhythm? Or is he still looking a little off color?
No, I don't think he's back in his rhythm. I don't think he's like the Rohit Sharma we have known for a while, and I think it's been a while, in fact, when he scored big runs in the IPL. In fact, if we look at his record, I think from 2016 onwards, only 2 seasons he scored 400 plus runs, and that's almost 8 seasons now for a batsman who bats in the top 3, plays all 14 matches, who's one of the foremost opening batsmen in white ball cricket in the world, not scoring 400 runs more than twice since 2016. That's a very, very bad record. But of course, he gets away with it because Mumbai eventually have become champions during that interim so many times. So as long as you're getting your team to perform, winning trophies, nobody raises a question. But having said that, what really matters is because this form has to translate immediately into the World Test Championship final. This form has to translate for the rest of the year in white ball cricket, whether it's India, West Indies, or Asia Cup, or after that, the big ODI World Cup. So overall, Rohit Sharma hasn't been scoring as quickly, as freely as we have known him. Even in the last T20 World Cup, he was not the Rohit Sharma that we have seen, for example, in 2019, when he scored so many runs in England in the ODI World Cup. So there is a bit of a down curve in his batting. Is it related to his fitness? That is something that I'm really worried about because let's be very honest, he's not looking match fit, particularly match fit, uh, in or physically fit in that sense, and that has that has a bit of impact in the way you move at the crease, in the way you move on the field. So maybe that is an aspect where Rohit Sharma has to work, if not for the WTC final, then at least for the ODI World Cup. Uh, One more point I would like to say here is what Jamie said about the number three. I think Cameron Green scoring that 100 in the last game will take away any doubts of him batting at number three today, because the mind goes back to the game against Lucknow, against LSG in Lucknow, where Cameron Green did not bat at number three. Mumbai Indians were chasing 170, 180 odd. They sent Surya Kumar Yadav at number three. They ended up losing the match. If they had won that match, they would have qualified as number two, not at number three or four. So that change alone decided a lot of things for Mumbai, made the race for the top four very, very interesting. So thankfully, because of that 100 in the last game, I think Cameron Green will bat at number three today. And that will actually help Mumbai Indians batting, because it then flows seamlessly.
Okay, but I do want to, Jamie, with you, take forward the Rohit Sharma question. Do we have a Rohit Sharma problem on our hands? And I'm not just saying from the point of view of Mumbai Indians. I'm obviously talking about the WTC coming in and, of course, the ODI World Cup.
Oh, absolutely. I whenever this question comes, I have my stats already. I think Chetan's already touched upon it. Again, it's why are we being extra critical? Because it is Rohit Sharma, captain of India across three formats. But like Chetan says, when you don't get like what is a big season? Right? We've seen Shubman Gill 720. We're seeing Jaiswal 650 plus. That qualifies as a big season. In 16 seasons, Rohit Sharma's never had that big season. But it's Rohit Sharma. But for 6 seasons, when you don't do it and your team is winning, I still think the question has to be asked. Now, to my mind, Shivani, he is the most important player in the Indian team because he opens in all three formats and he's the captain. I think the WTC final, maybe we can perhaps not give that as much weightage, personally speaking, as the One-Day World Cup, because this is the One-Day World Cup, which to this day is a thorn in Rohit Sharma's side because he was dropped a few months before the 2011 World Cup, and he carries that gripe, that grouse. And now he's the captain, so he's hell-bent on winning it. But if you're unfit, and we all know, even a few extra kgs here and there, like Chetan says, your movements slow down. We're talking about an Indian opener, right? We saw it last year. I think personally, he's played his last T20 for India, which is a good thing. Whatever time is left, let's try and hope that the best of Rohit Sharma somehow comes out and shows itself in the World Cup. Because yes, you can talk about Mumbai Indians winning titles, but you need a player who's so important, scoring runs. When he got that first 65 in the second match at the Kotla, I believe it was 24 IPL innings between 50s. That, to my mind, is unacceptable for someone of Rohit Sharma's stature. He got one more in the last match, but it came against, I think, the weakest bowling attack in the tournament. If Rohit does not click today and the team has gone out, I think we should be very, very worried. Not so much about the WTC format, because it's just that one match, final, but that One-Day World Cup, because he's going to take rest, Shivani. We know he'll skip the West Indies, he'll skip this and that. You can't be doing that in a World Cup year. Really sorry.
Yeah, and also there is a little bit of question mark out of some of the silence surrounded around some of the players. You've got this Rohit Sharma question hanging on everybody's head, Jamie. Also, Hardik Pandya. Why are we not getting to know why he's not bowling? He's obviously not looking that great with the bat either. These are people who are going to be crucial for us. I feel like should be a little bit more information and transparency with what's happening, isn't it?
I love those last two words you used. These two things in the last 3 years have been thrown in the rubbish bin by the BCCI. Press releases coming out at 11:30. No question and answer. How much can you say? Oh, it's because of COVID. We didn't do a press conference. These two words are not applicable to the BCCI. But look, I think we discussed this yesterday. The fact that Hardik did not bowl for 3 matches and now 4 matches, to me, indicate that he's not match fit, because he's an all-rounder. He's the kind of player who wants to grab the ball and start and bowl. He didn't bowl 4 matches. I think not enough people are also talking about, yesterday, to my mind, he made 3 mistakes. The toss, changing the 11, and then not sending Vijay Shankar. Yes, it was a scratchy 53, but it took a lot of pressure off Shubman Gill. We all know they're a one-man batting team. Get Gill, you won the match. Yesterday, Hardik Pandya, who's not done much at number 3 the whole year, he comes into bat in that match, and the guy who scored 53 bats at 6. Something is not right with Hardik Pandya this year.
Yeah, I would just like to know, this is not any disrespect to any player. It is not that we don't believe in them. It's just that we've got a very important World Cup campaign coming up, and we would just like to know what's happening and not be blindsided as we have been in so many World Cup campaigns. And I was there in the 2022 World Cup in Australia, the T20 World Cup. And, sometimes you just want some answers and you want to understand why the team is not clicking beyond a certain point. In any case, let's get back to the match on hands. Vineet, looks like the toss is going to become very important tonight.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, any Chennai game, the toss is very crucial. And as you saw in the last game, I mean, you win the toss, you bat first. I mean, that's a clear advantage there. But for somebody like MI, who have been really good chasers, this season, it's a dilemma for them. What they do, if they win the toss and they decide to bat, they'll have to look for a score of over 200, and possibly that's the best possible scenario for Mumbai, that they just go hammer and tongs and try to exploit that early conditions early on, and then hope their spinners, which is quite weak this season, able to defend the total, whatever the bat is put up. LSG, on the other hand, will also be wary of the fact that they, win the toss, opt to bat first, then they are allowing Mumbai Indians to, be in their playhouse. That is to chase. So yes, toss is going to be very, very crucial. The winning score you saw, I mean, score of 170 was a winning total last night. I'm guessing anywhere between 150 plus would be a very, very good, total. Won't be very easy to chase down for either of the teams. You talked about Marcus Stoinis, Nicholas Puran, and all the other guys. Chris Jordan is also there. Marcus Stoinis loves to bat against Chris Jordan, but for me, LSG is the top. I mean, you need to figure out whether you need to have a Quinton de Kock or you have to have Kyle Mayers there. For Mumbai Indians, yes, the discussion has happened between Cameron Green, who to play at number 3, Green or Surya Kumar Yadav. My hunch is Mumbai will go with Surya Kumar Yadav just because of the stability factor. But then again, it will be very difficult for Surya Kumar Yadav to go hammer and tongs the way he does. Chepauk, his general strike rate is around 137. Chepauk, it comes down to 107. Square of the, scores, short square of the wicket is not something that he'll enjoy here. So yes, toss will be crucial. 150, 160 winning total.
Right. I just hope that last night's match doesn't psych the two teams today to the extent that they start seeing demons where none exist. Sometimes that can happen because of what happened last night, and everybody's just, talking about how difficult it became towards the end. But like I said, you play freely. There was a Rashid Khan and even some of the other batsmen around him who were actually managing to get some boundaries under their belt. In any case, time for us to now take some final comments. We've got, of course, KL Rahul's statistics up on screen. He scored centuries against MI and is the highest scorer for LSG. But how bad, Chetan? There's no KL Rahul. Do you think he's going to be an important miss for the team? Have they been missing him
Oh,
that much?
absolutely, they have been missing him. I mean, he, in terms of batting well on difficult pitches, I think his kind of batting, the way he bats now, that actually helps the side. Yes, they did not win that particular game, where he scored that half century and they ended up losing against Gujarat Titans. But in a kind of a slowish pitch, I think he can help the side get a bit of a base together. It might not sound right at the moment, given the kind of form he's in, given the kind of strike rate that he's batting with, but it actually makes cricketing sense for the team, for his team as a whole, but also the fact that he is their captain and he's a figurehead for the captain. It's never easy when you lose out the figurehead, which is why I was surprised that they did not make Marcus Stoinis the captain and they made Krunal Pandya, but he's done a fantastic job of hauling his side to the knockout. So, and of course, it's a big game today for Pandya as well because he's facing his old side. They're missing KL Rahul, but I think they've moved past that particular point by now, and all eyes will be on how Krunal performs against his old side.
Yes, he will have a little bit of insight, isn't it, on the Mumbai side, and he's played for them for several years. He's also has the best figures of 3 for 19 amongst LSG bowlers against MI, and the conditions once again, as all of our guests are mentioning, are going to be top notch for him. All right, Krunal Pandya, Jamie, before we take final comments on where you're putting your money, how have you looked at his captaincy? I remember I was on record, I tweeted this after their last match, that he was like hopping mad a little bit in their last match. And he's like very excitable. And, he was like, all the energy was actually showing. And I felt like some of it was nervous energy that that can pass on to your depth over bowlers. And as a captain, you would want to maybe curtail it a little bit because that can pass on, and you don't want your young death over bowlers to be catching on to that nervous energy. But that aside, how do you think he's done as a captain?
I think, like Chetan said, he's done a very good job because I don't think he's a natural leader, but because his last name is Pandya, he sort of has a way of getting the team to do things along the lines of what he thinks. While I agree with Chetan that there's a good call to play those your top four all be overseas because they have four overseas players, and I think Nicholas Puran is batting one spot too low, but just somehow those stats that were on the screen a few minutes ago about his record against Mumbai. I think in this condition, just like Vineet mentioned, Surya might give you stability. I think this is a match right for Kunal Pandya to play, just like he got that 49 before he hobbled off the pitch and retired himself. This is that kind of track where he could be the most impactful all-rounder in this evening's match if he bats at number 3, bats just like the way he batted in that last match. And I think his 4 overs, I think the screen said 3 for 19. This could be another 3 for 19 day because he's that kind of player on these tracks, that sharp, non-turning spin, as we say, could be crucial. And he has the confidence of doing very well in a role which perhaps he was not best suited to. I think I'll go with Chetan and say that Marcus Stoinis was the most obvious choice. But when you win more matches than you lose after losing a player like KL Rahul, I think you've done a very good job, Kunal Pandya.
All right. So your final predictions for today?
LSG hands down. Margin of victory like yesterday won't be anything great. But bat first or chase, it's Lucknow for me.
All right, Chetan?
I think Lucknow to win this game, the only way I see Mumbai winning this game is they bat first and put up 180 on the board. That's the only way I see them winning this game. Otherwise, it's Lucknow all through.
Vineet, are you in consensus or are you going to play?
Yeah, I think it's a three-peat. It's a three-peat for LSG because look, Mumbai. It's basically about the conditions, the template that Mumbai has been playing on. Flat tracks versus LSG who've been playing on conditions more similar to Chennai with even though the scrappy win. So LSG are more tuned or more adept in handling these conditions rather than Mumbai.
All right. I think there is only one headline as far as today's match is concerned. It's conditions, conditions, conditions. Not location, 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 as it is usually said. So let's see if conditions rule the roost and dictate the match as everybody is anticipating, or we could see something else in store. Maybe somebody decides, no, I'm not going to be dictated by the conditions and I'm going to do what I want to do. It's a big match, an eliminator, a final spot is on the line. We leave it at that. I do thank Jamie, Chetan and Vineet for joining us. Remember, we'll continue to get you these previews. So join us back on Friday, same time, 2 p.m. as we build up to the qualifier 2. And of course, the lineup is going to be decided today. Goodbye for now.